So this is a story about punching 110 film. I've tried about 8 or 9 different methods and various versions of jigs, and I've finally ended up with something that worked. I tried these pliers first with a Perspex jig. The hole punch there was about 1.5 millimeters, I think. I think it fitted in the rectangular slots of standard 110 punched film, but it was I found the hole was too small to reliably catch the shutting lever, and I hadn't got it close enough to the edge of the film, and when I did, it split the film. Then I moved on and I made this jig out of laser cut acrylic, which had got a 60mm groove, a locating pin there to locate the film over a set of Moore Industry pliers. I think this was 2mm pliers, 2.5mm pliers, and you fade the film in one end under this slot here, move it along, punch a hole. It locates on the pin 25mm apart, and you punch the next one and keep going until you're finished. That was hit and miss, and I discovered the reason that was hit and miss, I think, again, I was using too small a hole. Because the hole is rectangular on the original film, and the position next to the edge of the film is so important, I needed to try something different. So I tried a bigger punch, and this is the punch I ended up with. This is from eBay. This punch is a 3mm hole. It actually comes with a little guide where you can, a bit like a normal hole punch of paper, where you can set it up for the depth of punching hole you want. I tried that on its own, but unfortunately it wasn't accurate enough, and it wasn't setting flush to the body, so the film would slide underneath it, and it just wasn't reliable. So then this jig here, this prototype, made of plywood on the routing table. So I routed a 16mm groove and filled it with self-adhesive felt. I routed another groove here such that I could mount the pliers in pretty flush with the surface, and they were secured in with screws, Allen screws, and there was a hole in the middle there to allow the punch film to fall out, because this punch varies from some others in that it doesn't punch onto an Allen, it punches straight through a hole, so it actually takes the film out through a hole with it. This actually works quite well. We've got here some bits of Perspex cut on the laser to act as guides to keep the film in the channel, and they've got felt on the underside too, so we've got a felt lined path. The film comes in here, you pull an inch or two out of this end, and then your starting hole is roughly in the right position for 110 film, and then you push and slide the film along a little bit at a time. So that worked well, but a bit scrappy on a bit of scrappy plywood, so I thought I'd try something a bit better. And I've got a CNC machine now, so I bought some HDPE plastic, 20mm thick, and I did some CAD work. I'll just put this phone up here so you can see how it works. Did some CAD work, and what I eventually did on the CAD was to replicate what I'd done on the plywood, really. So 16mm wide groove along here, a groove along here to take the pliers such that they fit flush with the surface of the HDPE plastic. I routed a groove all the way through here to allow some screws to go in and to allow for fine adjustment backwards and forwards, so you could get the punched edge exactly in the right place, adjacent to the edge of the film. That distance between the edge of the film and the edge of the hole is critical, I've found over lots of experiments. Then again, laser cut some acrylic, felt on the underside of the acrylic, felt in the channel. You see there's a bit of old film in here that's got loads and loads of holes in it where I've been practicing, and that's the process. So what happens is, if I just, if anything, actually this is a little on the tight side, this channel, but basically what you do is I'm caught on the hole there, and there's another one coming up, so that's going to get caught. There it is. You feed the film in from the left to the right, you slide it under, clean fingers. It doesn't matter for the first bit because that doesn't get exposed. So you've got a little bit of film. I told you it was tight, didn't I? A little bit of film sticking out the end, about 2 fingers widths, so you can easily grab it, and that puts the punch in the right position for the first hole. There's a locating pin which you'll see in a minute, you can't see here. So you punch your first hole, you pull the film along, and because it's quite tight in there, the pin, which is just 1.8mm diameter, easily sits in and grabs the film and stops it being forward any further into the first hole, punch the next hole. This is a little bit fiddly, so you just push the film back in a little bit so you create a rook, hook it over the pin and pull until you get the next one, punch. Same again, push it back in so it kinks, pull it over the pin, pull along to the next hole and punch, and 24 times obviously. And then that's it. You just take it out, wind it up, and you're good to go. I've run it through a Minolta Minolta 110 Zoom Mark II, which does require perfs. It's worked 100%. I've also run it through my Pentax Auto 110 Super in a cartridge that wasn't notched. That works 100% perfect. And I've run it through my Tasco cam, my Tasco 7800 binocular camera, which does require perfs in order to work, and again 100% success rate. So that's it. It's all finished and working. I've actually made two. I've made one for my friend Andrew Long down in Cornwall. I was thinking about making them, offering them for sale, but to be honest, having spent the afternoon doing this, I just really haven't got the time to do that. Setting up the sear machine is quite easy. It takes about 3 tool changes and it's quite quick. The fiddly part is cutting the felt by hand, cutting the laser parts, gluing them on precisely, lining up the punch, and so on and so forth. So I've got no desire to, I'm afraid, sorry, replicate it for anybody else. But hopefully it will give you an idea about what you might do yourself. This first one was done on the router table and could be done with a hand router in just some ply. So it is possible to do it with hand tools. You don't need a CNC machine. I'll put the CAD files, the computer-aided design, and the CAM files, computer-aided manufacturer files, on the site, on the Facebook site, so that other people can make use of them if they wish. And it may be possible from the CAD actually to build this up into a 3D printed model, although it's quite substantial and it would take quite some considerable time. I mean, I've made this 20mm thick in order to be able to accommodate the foot of this punch and to fix it securely. But if nothing else, hopefully it will give people some food for thought about how they can replicate it, and by making the files available, then they can have a go. So I hope people find that helpful. Thanks then. Cheers from Somerset in the UK.